Alright, what's up everybody? As you can tell by the title of the video, obviously this is not a video that I necessarily wanted to make. Definitely had other plans for this week's video, but so stay tuned and I will check in and tell you all about what's going on with me this week. Alright, so first off, this is not meant to be the most entertaining video that I've made. I'm not trying to do anything special for this one. This is mainly actually just for me, so I can look back and kind of put the entire mini series project of training for this 100-mile race all together once, hopefully, if it's still going to happen. I also wanted to point out I haven't necessarily recorded anything in a long time, so the videos that I post on Sundays are not of that week, it's of the previous week. The last video I posted was of 2 weeks ago. Last week I didn't actually record any footage. It was a cutback week, but obviously something has come up that I'll get into. Didn't run anything over the weekend, and it is now Thursday, so I actually haven't recorded anything in like over 2 weeks of time, but it will not necessarily appear that way based off of how I've uploaded the videos. Just want to get a little bit of background before I jump into the main topic for today, this injury, what it is, what's going on, which honestly I'm not even too sure of what's going on. So first of all, most obviously I guess, you can see I'm not running. I'm just out for a walk in Umstead. Just basically really only to record this footage, this video, so I'm not just like at home sitting behind a desk talking to you guys. So you can see I'm just on the bridle. I started up here by Harrison Avenue if you're familiar with the park, and I'm probably just gonna walk for, I don't know, 10-15 minutes and then turn around. Okay, so first, some background information on my training. If you haven't been following along or don't necessarily remember all of the weeks of volume that I've been putting out so far, it started off this training block basically after a recovery week from my last race, the Manitou's Revenge race up in New York. After that recovery week, I did 45 miles. So that race was 54 miles. So I was all trained up. I think that was like one of the most successfully run ultras that I've ever completed, so definitely left that race feeling on a high, which is partly the reason that I've signed up for this 100-mile race instead of just the 100K. So after that recovery week, I ran 45 miles and then 50 miles as my first 2 weeks of build, and then that third week of training was a recovery week. I think I did like 25 or something like that. The next 3 weeks were build, 45, 50, and then 55 again. Okay, actually, so I just checked. It was 55, 60, 65 was the middle 3 weeks of build. And then another cutback, and then 2 more weeks of build, went 60, 65 again. And last week was a recovery week. And after last week brings us to this week. So that was my lead up, build up so far, and right now this was supposed to be another build week, supposed to hit 65 this week, 70, 75, and then taper, and then the race. That's not happening, clearly, because I have not logged hardly any miles the last 2 weeks. Another thing that you've probably seen or at least heard me talk about in the recent videos is the PT. I've been scheduling intermittent PT sessions, usually on the recovery weeks. I haven't necessarily felt any major thing come up. Obviously, you saw a couple weeks ago I had that Achilles pain that got completely cleared away once I went to one of the sessions, so that was good. But anyway, so after my big 65-mile week 2 weeks ago, that Tuesday I had a PT session, and I even told my therapist, I said, you know, that week that I came in, I was feeling the best that I ever had going into an appointment. After Tuesday session, PT session, I went for a short, easy 5-mile run. I noticed my ankles were sore, tender, not, you know, just kind of tired overall. So I basically, there's a deer. Sorry, there's a couple of deer running around, crossing over the trails here. It kind of startled me, actually. So Tuesday, my ankles felt a little bit off, but typically my calves are just so used to being so tight and locked up that I figured when I went to PT that Tuesday, that when I went for the run afterwards, because my calves were not tight, because they were just loosened up with the PT session, that my stability muscles or little twinginess in the ankle was taking more load because my calves were looser. So that was the theory, at least. Wednesday, the day after that, I tried to do another 8 miles, and I did the 8 miles, but again, my ankles just felt off, felt tired and sore and achy. And then the last run for last week was 11 miles total, and my ankles really hurt the first 6 miles, but then kind of subsided after that. So I didn't know what was going on there either. So heading into the weekend last weekend, my ankles didn't really feel good at all. I actually recovered, or rested I should say, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this week. So 4 days rest. This is the most amount of days rest that I've taken in the entire, 10 or 11 week training block for this race so far. So I was really hoping, starting Tuesday this week, that my legs, my ankles, things would feel much better, and that is definitely not the case. All right, so you might be asking what's going on with my ankles. So it's bizarre, to be honest. I can do a lot of movements, a lot of motions, a lot of different ankle straining activities without pain, and it's only very select motions or movements that cause me pain. Like in the gym, I can leg press, I can squat, I can this morning I was doing a back workout in the gym and was doing a bunch of pull-ups on the pull-up bar. From hanging off the pull-up bar, if I release and like jump almost or fall down to the ground into like a squat or something, zero pain in my ankles, nothing, zero. If I like stand on one foot and do some like tabletop exercises, or do some twirls or spins with my other ankle standing on one foot. This morning I also stood on a like mobility exercise platform thing, zero pain. So the pain only comes when I lift my foot off of the ground. And I know that sounds really dumb, but like if I stand up straight, I can do this right here actually. If I stand up straight and do a long lunge, that's fine. That doesn't hurt at all. But it's the act of picking my foot off of the ground that is the issue. When I do that, I get this like surge of pulsating pain and throbbing, shooting straight down through my ankles. It is not my shins. It doesn't hurt on my shin bone like shin splints. As soon as I pick my foot up off of the ground, walking, running, it doesn't really matter. Like I feel it right now actually. I get this surge of pain. It doesn't hurt as much like walking downstairs because I'm not like pushing off with my foot when it leaves the ground as much. I think is the reason why, at least. Almost any other time I'm moving, like walking uphill, walking downhill, running makes it like 10 times worse. So I'm not sure what's going on. I actually had a PT appointment this morning. I was actually fortunately able to get in right at the last second. A slot opened up and I was able to snag that. My therapist was also kind of confused, didn't exactly know what was going on either. But she said that there was no obvious like strain or inflammation or like anything that she saw wrong necessarily with my ankles. And just me describing the pain of how it only hurts when I pick my foot off the ground was really stumping her also. So she advised me to come out and do short 3-4 miles, walk and throw in a little bit of running, which I have. You didn't see me, but I was doing some jogs back there before I got to this bench over here by the lake. Normally my body responds pretty well, pretty positively to PT appointments, especially if things are hurting actively when I go, but in this case it doesn't necessarily feel that much better than what it was a couple days ago and how it felt over the weekend. So definitely not the best of news, not what I was hoping for. If you've been watching, or if at least you saw last week's video, I talked a lot about Table Rock 50K, which is supposed to be this weekend. I'm still signed up for the race, but I'm not exactly sure if that's the best thing for me to do right now, so I'm probably going to not start that race and, I don't know, maybe volunteer or do something else instead, which is kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to doing that one. I'm not sure how things will feel in 2 weeks' time for the Naturalist 50K, but obviously that's not the A goal either, and URI 100 is what I'm ultimately trying to get myself to and across the finish line. So we have 37 days. I think it's 37 days. Yeah, so 37 days until the race, just over a month away. I'm pretty concerned. I was supposed to be training heavy this week, next week, and one more week before my taper. I might probably just have to taper now and do a lot of resting, rehab, and recovery. Hopefully my ankles will feel better before the race, but that's kind of what's going on right now. So I initially had the thought of maybe just hiking the entire Table Rock 50K. The cutoff is 12 hours. I'm pretty sure I'd be able to hike the entire thing. A lot of the course on like bridle roads like this, that was my thought, but I don't think I would gain necessarily anything out of that besides a finish time versus a DNS. The plan is not to get too distracted by this upcoming 50K, this Table Rock, or the Naturalist 50K, and just focus on the main goals. Sometimes you got to make hard decisions, and pulling out of a race is something I've never done before. It's definitely not what I had planned on doing, but would probably be just in the best interest of me and my legs, and how I'm now shifting my approach to finishing up training and making it to the start of URI 100 as healthy and strong as I can be. Alright, so I'm back home, everyone. It's getting darker earlier now, so Umstead closed at 8 o'clock, and I had to get back to my car and get out of the park before the gates locked. But I just wanted to give a little wrap up to the end of this video, and hopefully next week when I check in I'll have some better news and some more positive updates on how my ankles are doing. But until then, I will see you next time. Have a good one.